Hi, this is Peter Greijn, broker with Referral Realty US LLC and Remax One Realty in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been handling REO properties for large banks and small investors and institutions over the last 21 years and have been asked several times questions about what do we need to do for the foreclosures in North Carolina. It starts in North Carolina, of course, with the foreclosure auction at the courthouse steps. You as a lender have to bid just like all the other bidders that are willing to obtain this property. The upset period, and there is an upset period in North Carolina that is 10 days. The foreclosure auction at the courthouse steps is not the final sale, or doesn't have to be the final sale. There's an opportunity for other people to come in and upset the bid within 10 days after the foreclosure auction. They have to up the bid by 5%, and when they do that, it starts a new 10-day upset period. If after 10 days nobody upsets the bid anymore, the sale becomes final. Item number 2. We have won the bid, and what do we do now? Well, the first thing to do is, of course, record the trustee deed in the name of your institution. Then, if it's occupied, you have to start an eviction process, or in many cases we do a cash for keys and ask the occupant to leave when we help them and assist them with moving cost. The eviction procedure in North Carolina is anywhere from 7 to 10 days after the sale. However, there's a little catch. It has to be filed after the final accounting has been filed with the clerk of court in the county that the sale is held. This is a lot of times the hold up, because sometimes it takes the clerk of court anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks to file that final accounting. The eviction cannot be started until that final accounting has been filed. And so even though eviction should be between 7 and 10 days, it might be 6 weeks to 8 weeks before it's actually done. Now, North Carolina does not know a property registration system, so you do not have to register the properties in the state or the county or town you're in. Item number 3, the sheriff eviction. After your attorney has filed for the eviction and the sheriff goes out, in most counties in North Carolina, the eviction has to be attended by a licensed locksmith. The property preservation company cannot do it unless they have a licensed locksmith on staff who can attend. Then after the eviction, you have to wait 7 days before removing all the personal property and the trash from the property. Note, you are unable to finish an eviction if a property preservation company has changed the lock or winterized the property prior to the sheriff's eviction. And we run into that quite a bit. At that time, we will need to do a posting and leave that up for 14 days or so and give the previous occupant the opportunity to come and get the personal property. So it is important that the property not be winterized and no locks are changed prior to the sheriff eviction. Item number 4, the property preservation after the eviction is done. Towns, cities, and counties, all of them have different ordinances within North Carolina, and it's hard to figure out what they exactly want in grass cuts, in property preservation. Some of them only allow boarding of homes for 6 months and then windows would need to be replaced. Some of them do not mind if it's boarded up. You really have to talk to your REO agent in that area to see what the ordinances are for that city, town, or county. In general, the cities are a little bit more restrictive than the counties are, but it all depends on where the property is, how you need to deal with the property preservation. Item number 5, listing REO properties in North Carolina. What is required to list a property in North Carolina? First of all, you need a listing agreement. The Real Estate Commission will require that. There's a form professional service agreement that needs to be signed. There's a form working with real estate agents that needs to be included. And then you also have to disclose all the material facts that are known by the agent or the owner of the home. Mold is a material fact, and if we are aware of it, we have to disclose that. If there's some structural items that we are aware of, we have to disclose those. Otherwise, it is just a matter of putting it in the MLS, marketing it, sending out the materials, sending it out to investors, and try to sell it as high as possible. Item number 6, HOA liens. I know HOAs are a issue with most of the, or with a lot of the REO properties. In North Carolina, the HOA liens are wiped out after the eviction. The owner is only responsible for the HOA dues that are from the date of the auction through current, or the time that the property is sold again. The HOA can foreclose on a property for HOA dues, but if they are owed HOA dues that were prior to the foreclosure auction, they do not have the right to foreclose on those. That makes it somewhat easier to sell those, and although the HOAs are not easy to obtain information from, they do not have the clout to take the property in a foreclosure if they are owed less than 6-7 months. And again, talk to your REO agent if you have any questions about those. Item number 7, selling REO properties in North Carolina. After you received a successful offer and you're going to sell the property, you're going to get your contract that has to be signed by both the buyer and the seller. Earnest money in North Carolina has to stay within a bank within the state. Many of my clients have escrow companies that are out of North Carolina and want the earnest money to be sent to them. Per the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, that is not allowed. Most of the time what we do is that the earnest money goes to the closing attorney, who is local, and stays there until the property closes. Also, of course, you need a North Carolina offer to purchase and contract combined with the addendums that your institution has and that they want to be included in the offer to purchase. Closing an REO property in North Carolina. After a successful sale and it goes to closing, North Carolina is an attorney state. All closings are to be done with an attorney. The buyer generally chooses that attorney. If the seller wishes to use their attorney, that is possible, but then some compensation would need to be given to the buyer, so that could be allowed. But in general, the buyer picks a local attorney who does the closing and coordinates it with the seller's closing attorney that is most of the time out of state with the companies that I deal with. The recording of the deed is the official end of the transaction. After the deed is recorded, everybody gets paid, and happy faces, and we move on to the next REO property. If you have any other questions about selling REO properties in Central North Carolina or North Carolina, please call me at 919-422-9677 or email me at peter@referralrealtygrp.com. I have 21 years experience in dealing with REO properties, and I do not think there is a situation that I have not run into, and I will be able to help you. And I would love to work with you on your properties. Thanks.